soprano, vocalist. If you're a flute player, the competition is just incredibly fierce because we only got so many slots, and there's a lot of sopranos out there, and so it's something that that does, I think, bode well for the campus. One of the things that I know I'm proud of when I talk about selectivity is I point out that Fredonia is one of only 3 campuses in the entire SUNY system, that's out of 64 campuses, that does not offer remedial courses. We don't have any on campus. I was pleased when I arrived on campus to find we didn't have them. I think the way the campus is doing it is the correct way to do it. We do check with students when they're coming in, and if they have deficiencies, we let them know they have a deficiency. On their own time, they are expected to go to the Student Learning Center and on their initiative get the help they need to correct that deficiency. Now, this works. We have a program on campus, the Fredonia in 4, where we want students to graduate in 4 years, and we are currently ranked among public universities across the nation. We're 7th in the nation for 4-year graduation rates. We don't offer remedial courses. You don't have to have remedial courses in order to help students get through. And I think it's important that they make that commitment on their own. It's one of the things that we certainly do. Now, I wanted to share with you 3 examples where students have done exceptionally well in competitions, just to show you the selectivity. And these are in 3 disciplines you normally don't hear as much about in Fredonia. So I deliberately picked these. One is business. Our business program puts together a team every year. It's called Students in Free Enterprise. That team goes out and competes with universities from across the nation, and there's no Division I, II, or III. They're competing with some of the best universities in the nation. And our team, about 3 weeks ago, for the 12th consecutive year in a row, won the regional competition and went on to the national competition. In computer science, and their competition's coming up this next weekend, so this is a year ago, our computer science team went to the Northeast competition. Again, there's no Division I, II, or III. We're going up against the best universities in the entire Northeast, plus all of Eastern Canada was included in this competition. Fredonia finished 5th. Now, 5th might not sound like much until you look at who we were up there with. First place was MIT, a pretty good technology school. Second place was the other MIT team. MIT swept the first 2 slots. Third place was McGill, which is the top public university in Canada. 4th place was a little place called Harvard. 5th place was SUNY Fredonia. We were pretty excited. And then I'm going to brag about chemistry just for a minute, because we got a great science programs on our chemistry program. And this was actually 2 years ago in our graduating class that year. The American Chemical Society gives full rides for students to go to graduate school. There's only 16 that are given in the entire nation. They are the highest honor you can get in chemistry. Well, that year, 3 graduates from New York won these scholarships. There's huge amounts of dollars that they're receiving. One of them from New York graduated from Columbia University. The other 2, and the first time in the history 2 had come from a single campus, graduated from SUNY Fredonia. Very excited for a chemistry department, and they were a couple pretty good students. What's going on with our operating budget? Item 4. Well, basically, There was an old saying that said public universities are tending to go from state financed to state supported. I think we've gone way below state supported. We're not state assisted. We're not even state located anymore. I think what we are is we're in the state tolerated category. It's been a tough year for us. SUNY took the biggest cut in the entire state. It's a huge cut. And just to give you an idea, for the Fredonia budget, our state funding decreased from a year ago was at $21.7 million. Next year, with the cuts that have occurred in the past 13 months, next year we're going to receive $15.1 million from the state. That's a $6.6 million cut. It is just outrageous. In addition, the governor raised tuition, and in a move that has never happened in the United States, put a tax on tuition, and our students this semester had to pay a 90% tax on the tuition they paid. Only 10% of the tuition went for their education. The other 90% went in to state coffers. I have been outraged by it. I hope you're outraged by it. And it's something that really needs to change. Now, the League of Women Voters has a lot of clout, so this is the part of my talk where I'm going to ask that you consider advocating on behalf of higher education, and I'm not just asking for myself, I'm asking for all of public higher education in the state. Governor Spitzer put together a commission. The commission reported out this last fall. It was the Commission on Higher Education. This commission said there need to be some changes. There were 3 major recommendations, and you may want to study these to see if you want to advocate for them. But the 3 major recommendations was, 1, because the Governor's Office of Employee Relations is the one that negotiates the contracts and then they send the campuses the bill, they were recommending that, that as part of the budgeting process, that when that is negotiated, that funding should be provided by the state. SUNY is the only area where that does not happen automatically. It can be withheld, and we need to take care of that. 2, in terms of tuition, tuition should not be a political item. If there are tuition increases, they should be determined by the SUNY Board of Trustees. New York is one of only a handful of states where it still goes through the legislature. That's why the tuition tends to sit for a long, long time and then have a gigantic spike as money's being pulled out of campuses. Tuition should be used for students' education. So that's the second thing I'm going to ask you to support. And then the third thing, I would ask that there be less regulations for SUNY. Doesn't cost a dime, but there is an awful lot of inefficiency in this state. So those are the 3 things on that. Now, I got to talk about construction. Everybody loves to know about construction. What are we doing in terms of construction? And you know, we opened an auditorium and we got the Roush Recital Hall, University Commons. Many of you may not know, that was not a state building. We did compete for a $4.9 million grant from the state, but over $18 million of non-state money was raised for the construction of University Commons so that we could get a Starbucks on campus. We do use it for more than just Starbucks, but anyway. We are currently have under construction, we're going to complete in 2 weeks, University Stadium. This is basically putting in restrooms, a snack bar, having a nice turnaround, and there'll be a press box up top so it'll look like a stadium. We have the incubator under construction, and the incubator, which is for new startup companies, that will be completed by October. It is on schedule. Our expectation is we're going to have a ribbon cutting, so look for that in the newspaper. It's going to be very exciting.